Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me somebody very, very special joining right in. Mr. V Vaidyanathan joins in, MD and CEO of IDFC First Bank. Thank you, sir, for speaking to us. First up, recently the RBI increased the risk weightage for consumer loans like personal loans and credit card loans, and you also are in that business as well. Help us understand. Of course, the intent is very good, but at the same time, will it really have an impact on consumer lending space?
Yes, of course. I think that is the objective of the RBI, where they have. I think the message is to be more prudent, and we should respect that. And if consequently there's a reduction in growth in that particular business, I think it's to be accepted and rather be respected actually.
Absolutely. So, will this really have an impact on the bank's businesses as well? Because a lot of the business was coming from the retail side, which was offsetting the lower demand in the corporate side. Will that get impacted?
Well, bank has many lines of businesses. There's a small medium enterprise. There's a rural financing. There is even a corporate banking where you do the safe sort of the corporate banking. So a lot of business line for the bank to run. There's no issue about that. But this is a particular place, I think, which there is a signal or message from the regulator. We heed that.
Okay. So there was a heightened demand in the recent times, below 50,000 rupees kind of demands, which increased with the uprooting of any of these fintech companies as well. Will now that space get into a vacuum?
Well, I can't call it vacuum, but yeah, it will get reduced. If you notice, see, banks like ours anyway don't do less than 50,000 rupee loans or retail personal loans. We don't do it. It's like a very minuscule portion of a book. It's fractional. It's not even 0.3% or something like that of the bank's book. But so we don't do that. But yeah, I mean, to the extent that fintechs were doing this space, and typically there is no cash flow assessment for the small loans. So to that extent, the RBI is actually right in doing this, and I think there will be an impact about how much fintech lending will happen there. There will be.
So you also lend to fintechs. Will that get impacted too?
We don't lend to fintechs actually very much. We do work with fintechs, but we don't, even with them, we don't do the less than 50,000 rupee loans. We just don't do that business.
Okay. So also recently we also saw that the RBI, to protect the consumers at large for the UPI payments, which recently became very, very popular, the thought of creating above 2,000 rupees some kind of a time gap when these payments are done. How do you see that?
That's good. All these controls that are, the banking system continuously evolves on the basis of the performance of the pool or performance of the existing ecosystem and transactions, etc. And based on limits, the revisions keep coming. It's okay, good for the system. Really.
Good for the system. At the same time, will it be inconvenient for people who actually started using this often?
Yeah, of course. See, whether it's 2000 any number, what I'm saying is that this is a constant evolution. You see, but in generally speaking, I think the ecosystem, whether it's the government, whether it's RBI, they're all trying to be innovative, but in a safe manner. And fortunately, there is NPCI. They're also doing a wonderful job, as you know. Otherwise, which countries ever created anything called UPI? So ये छोटी मोटी बातें हैं कि कैसा चेंज हो गया 2000, 3000. It's a part of life.
Okay. So also, if you tell us going forward from here, what is the credit demand that you're looking at, both from corporate side and from retail demand?
See, credit demand is very strong. In fact, the onus on us is to actually reduce the the exuberance, if I put it so, and the demand is strong. You know the numbers.
Right. So the RBI has also upgraded the GDP numbers as well. The economies are going strong at this point in time. What is your own thought on the kind of interest rate trajectory that we are looking at now?
Well, all of us, if you go by the most public opinion and our own banks, the interest rate will probably be here for a while, because I think the focus on inflation is so much that, and it should be, because it affects the poor section of the population. So, like, I don't know if you heard, the governor speak the other day. He said, Arjuna's eye on inflation, and we should remember that.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us on this very special occasion.
Thank you very much, sir.
So much, sir.